You're the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls, who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. Does someone have a rattle?
Yes.
Okay. Could you play rattle for us?
This one.
Shanun Noya, Shanun Noya, hey hey ya hey ya ya ole, hey hey ya hey ya ya ole, hey hey ya hey ya ya ole, 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 Shanun. This refers to the heart, the place in us that knows how to heal, that knows how to meet life and hold it, deal with it, recover from it. The heart is necessary to be active. This is a chant from the Chumash people on the west coast of the United States. And hey, hey, ya, hone. This refers to the roots of the willow tree, that they go deep and they bring nourishment and they anchor us in the storms of life. And it's repeated 3 times to emphasize, to give emphasis, that we're rooted. And then the hone are the leaves and branches, which are able to give with the wind and retain their integrity in the storms of life. So it's a teaching about the willow tree and about the heart, which is like the trunk for our being. So we'll be sidestepping left. Let's do that. Shanu Hoya, Shanu Hoya, hey hey ya hey ya ya hone, hey hey ya hey ya ya hone, hey hey ya hey ya ya hone, hone, hone. That last part is an honoring of the 4 directions. Let's get in a circle over here. Oh, certainly.
Oh, against the light, yeah.
These breezes moving around here. So, I have a couple of things written down, but I want to be sure we cover all the items that have been suggested to me, both at the last meeting and between the last meeting and today. And but I didn't always have notes with me. So any of you that have suggested topics, I have dance teams and conflict written down, and also achieving unity of movement in the dance.
Leading a cappella. A cappella.
Leading a cappella, okay.
Not so much that leading, but it's retaining the open-heartedness once we leave here. So moving from here and there.
Retaining the open-heartedness, okay. That's a good question.
one around considerations around putting together a session, an evening session, so opening, closing, your thoughts around the selection and order arrangement of the dances.
Yes, the dance card.
Yeah.
Yep.
And this might be too big for this situation in this group, but something around the Māori dances. I seem to keep meeting this a teaching of when it's okay for us to step into leading those dances or not. So I'm just kind of popping it in, but probably not for a whole big discussion about it because it's a really big
Okay.
one.
Yeah.
How to encourage musicians.
Musicians that are playing for the dances is what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are thrown in the deep end, some people hover on the edge for years.
Yeah, I get you. Okay, that's good.
And this is a little related to the topic KJ Phoenix raised, but the readiness to start leading Zikr.
Ah, yes.
You want me to go to the kitchen, we'll be a bit late.
Yeah. We'll just go on into the evening, shall we? Yeah.
The attunement into the tradition where it comes from, would like, for example, for me, the Native Americans, for me, they're very powerful, and sometimes it's getting a esoteric supermarket feeling of, okay, it's all fine and fine. Like how achieve the right attunement, which is connected with the tradition.
Yes, yes.
Because that's fire spark of that.
Right.
Same is true for Māori dances.
Yeah.
Right.
And it fits in with my question around experiencing a dance at least 3 times and being in the transmission of the attunement with someone who's quite close to the source of
Yes.
it before we actually take it away somewhere else and lead it.
Right. Well,
How long is a week?
we have a wealth of topics for today and tomorrow.
The dance session for tonight has just been cancelled.
Yeah. Well, we better do some dancing or we'll all fall asleep. No, let's take that last one first. I'm just going to popcorn these. Attunement to the tradition. I chose to lead something right now that's kind of on my growing edge. I don't lead many Native American dances because I don't feel, well, for one thing, that there are very many good ones that are really authentic to the spirit of them, but also just having that sense of integrity about the meaning and being in the flow. And as I'll repeat, I don't know if I said that in this group, but all of the dances we have are evocative of a tradition. They're evocative of a tradition. Buddhists generally don't dance. Islamic people definitely do not dance. So, someone who's deep in that tradition might be wholly offended by what we're doing anyway, no matter what it is we're talking about. It just so happens Native Americans dance, but not in the same sort of context that we do. I mean, their whole meeting, if you've been to a powwow in the U.S., it's quite an experience. And there's a lot going on, including cooking and drumming and initiations and all sorts of things. So my answer is in the heart. That you really bring whatever it is you're presenting into your heart. Bring it out only when it feels right and it's cooked, as a beautiful meal. Here's some wisdom for us. And let it go. And that's all you have to do. I mean, you're not Native American, and you never will be, no matter how much you You might even study for years with a teacher and still not be, a spiritual elder. But we can do what we do in the dances, which is to bring our integrity to a spiritual teaching and then offer it. And this is why Pure Shabda says we're all spiritual teachers. That's the paradox, is that, am I equipped for this? Probably not, but my heart is, my heart's good, all of our hearts are good. So we can take what we love and internalize it and offer it, and it'll always be received that way. So I've just turned your question around. It's not really an academic exercise, and it's not, there are no dance police saying, this is about the heart. It's about, your integrity with the material. And as long as you're handling it in as integrous a way as you can, who could object? Anyway, it's not mean we might not get everything right either. Right. It's what's in the heart. I've seen you dance leaders not have it right, but everyone's in tears because the heart is so pure and the offering is so innocent and generous. So that's what we're connecting with there.
Munir, can I check if it's okay to record your answers?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any answers I give are my personal view. Not speaking for the guidance council, but readiness to start leading Zikr. Boy, oh boy. That's a matter between you and your Sufi guide. And if you asked Murshid Sadi, as one of his students, I'd like to lead Zikr, he says, oh, great, so you want to practice Zikr at home for 3 years. Get started. Every Sufi guide is different. Inshallah, your guide has some background in Zikr and in terms of bringing it forward, bringing it out, and so knows what's involved and can guide you in the kind of practices and attunement that's necessary. I tried to get at some of this the other day, but there are many practical skills for leading the dances, and I feel the dances are an excellent preparation for leading Zikr. They build capacity. They build our ability to hold a concentration, to internalize a sacred phrase, to hold a melody, to hold a group, and essentially to open a door inside ourselves that gives permission to the group to go beyond themselves into, ecstasy or many range of emotions that could come from a dance, or to the depth of the material, and so on. Now, trainings around Zikr have been attempted, but Murshid Wali Ali has noted that he and I agree on this. We really can't teach Zikr in the same way we teach leading the dances. Because a leader either has it or they don't have it. And we're going to have a panel of judges holding up numbers. Yeah, they have it. If they have it, then the least said about it, the better. In terms of, it's not about the person. It's about a place that is awake and able to extend that awakeness to the group and come forward through that doorway together. They're holding the group on a lot of levels through their breath, through their attention or their awareness, and their skills, musical and otherwise. So, if this is a path that calls to you, alhamdulillah, just understand the depth of it. And the first thing to do is to start working with it at home, working with it as you're on your daily walk, feeling it in your bones, so that it is just, purely an expression of you. There's nothing but unity. There's nothing but wholeness. And there's a paper in the library by Murshida Layla on the differences between Zikr and the dances of universal peace. I suggest you take a look at that as well. I don't remember the name of it offhand, but you should be able to find it fairly easily. There's Layla B. There's a topic heading at the top of the page, I think, that speaks about Zikr. Anyway.
Did I hear you say you get the permission from your Sufi guide?
You get permission to lead Zikr from your Sufi guide.
Thank you.
Zikr is a practice of the Ruhaniyat and other Sufi orders. So, obviously, you need to be an initiate in those orders to bring forward a practice that is fundamental to the order. So, that's how I see it. And you may be ripe and ready, but if you're not an initiate and haven't really made that step, let me say something about initiation, because initiation is a step into the unknown. That's what an ayat Khan says. It's a step in a direction which we do not know. And it's stepping over a line that says, I don't know what life is. I want to know more. I want to know what I am in the depth of life. And it's impossible for me to know the way by myself, because I can't see my obscurations. I can't see the things that are blocking my path. So we have guides, nor as spiritual friends, essentially, to help us. And it's not one who knows and one who doesn't know. Both are raised up by the relationship. So it's entering into sacred relationship. And in that sacred relationship, things are possible that would never be possible otherwise, because the divine has come in and is shining light on what needs to be seen, So that's why, the door may be barred, until we make those kinds of decisions in ourselves, that yes, it's time. I've gone as far as I can go on my own. It's time to make that step. So, without further ado, and if you have more questions about that one, just come to me one-on-one and talk about it. The other day, I had those additions to the guidelines, but I was missing the paragraph that I really wanted to read you. So it speaks to, in a way, all of this that has been raised. And, it talks about an advanced leader, there being no other levels of recognition, instead feedback and so on, and through the results of one's own actions and from one's mentor, is how we know we're continuing to build in our strength and capacity. And it leads many of the dances of Mercer Samuel Lewis and so on. Numbers of dances and walks are not an end in themselves, but merely an indication that the leader has continued to deepen in mastery of this path. Most importantly, over time, the advancing dance leader increasingly comes to embody the truth and transmission of the sacred phrases with grace and humility. Through the dances and walks, he is able to convey an unbounded vision of human freedom and become a vehicle for the awakening of humanity. This capacity usually comes from engaging in a deep and dedicated manner with one's inner impressions, conditioning, and obscurations through a dynamic spiritual path. That's really important, to me. And I could. Thank goodness for the iPhone and OneDrive, where I can access my files way out here. Most importantly, over time, the advancing dance leader increasingly comes to embody the truth and transmission of the sacred phrases with grace and humility. Through the dances and walks, he is able to convey an unbounded vision of human freedom and become a vehicle for the awakening of humanity. This capacity usually comes from engaging in a deep and dedicated manner with one's inner impressions, conditioning, and obscurations through a dynamic spiritual path. So that feeds right into a discussion about dance teams, to my mind. And this is a subject I have thought about a lot because I tried to write a paper on it. And because I felt for many years that a dance team comprised of maybe more experienced members and less experienced members should work as a true team. They should have ways of working that are very clear, whether they're written down or not. The expectations of one another to come together at certain times and or handle things in a certain way should be, held by everyone, and people should be open to feedback from one another. In the case of inexperienced leaders, very often teams would have it led, in rehearsal before it's led for the public, that everyone on the team is committed to the highest quality experience for the public when the dances are led. And that, I have a couple of articles on the website that I wrote a long time ago about dance teams. And I'm still a member of a team in Montana that has met for continuously nearly 25 years. I haven't been on it all that time, but it's quite remarkable, and we still love each other, cherish one another. There's so much beauty in it when you see someone go beyond themselves and really come forward with something new and deep and beautiful. We should be cherishing that in one another and upholding one another. And everyone needs to hold understand their limitations. If they don't have as much experience, need to acknowledge that. I can learn from my teammates, and I can support them, So this has been my feeling for many, many years. And I went to the guidance council and I said, I think we need an article on dance teams because there's so much confusion out there. And here are my ideas. Everyone disagreed with me. They said, if people can't get along, they should go start another circle. And so I had to rethink. I had to go back and rethink. Now, what I've described here is one way forward that I know works, but it may not work in all situations. And the Leaders Guild is conceived as, Murshid Sadi conceived it as a wandering group of dervishes who may or may not work together. You know, they may choose to, or they may not. Well, that's rather different than I thought, but I understand it in the sense that we each need to be true to ourselves, and we need to bring we each carry a flame. What's going to nurture that flame? What situation will bring that flame to fruition? Now, I'm not telling you, then therefore, turn on your heel and walk away from a dance team that's difficult. No. You know, Gurdjieff had a disciple who everyone hated, and they finally drove him off. And Gurdjieff went out and brought him back in because he wanted him in there. You know, it's like Alaudi Nottinger says, we're all dirty potatoes in a bag, and you shake them up and you shake them up, and they all get clean in there. All the dirt comes off. That's it's a good metaphor. Just like there's a dharma to dancing. You go to the dance, well, I don't like this dance, or I don't like this leader, or whatever. No, there's a dharma to that. You go through it, you know. What you go through may bring up some of your stuff. Okay, very good. You know, this dance leader looks like my father. If I don't like it, okay, well, deal with it, you know. So same applies to dance teams. Why can't I get along here? You know, what's going on? Well, I want to do it my way. Well, take a look at Anayat Khan that I just read earlier in the week. You know, unlearning. The first step in unlearning is to see the other's point of view. You know, to see, you know, to negate your own views and see, you know, what's there. So, you know, dance leaders are, dance teams are a dynamic container, and they're interesting dynamics, especially when new people come into a situation that has been long established with certain ways of doing things and so on. That's always a change point in adjustment, and everyone has to adjust, you know. Sometimes teams can't quite do it, you know. My advice is stay in there, be very honest with one another about what you're feeling, about what's not working for you, and stay with it, you know, and see what good can come out of it. Because if you cherish one another, I feel like that's almost like step one. Cherish one another. And our dance team in Hamilton, Montana, we got together every week and rehearsed material. And that evolved into kind of a check-in. We did a check-in about what was going on in our lives. Because that's very helpful. If you don't know anything about your team member and what they're going through, it's going to be very hard to relate to them around the issues that come up. But if we understand that someone's under a lot of pressure at work, or they're taking care of a parent or whatever, you know, and maybe they don't all have their dance quite together, okay, we understand that, you know, we make room for that. You know, we need to have understanding of the human factor. You know, we're human beings. We each have good hearts. We're trying to bring the best we have to this, and it's an art, a craft, and a spiritual practice. It requires a lot of dedication and humility and surrender to even engage with this. So, given all that, if I'm a new leader, I'm joining a dance team, I'm going to look at how can I really help out here? You know, what's the way forward for me to really enhance what's happening here? And the more experienced leaders should say, okay, here's a new leader with a lot of potential. Let's make sure she has, airtime. Let's give them the support they need, and let's, give them honest feedback so they can take that in and really progress with it. This is how I see it, But there are others who've seen a lot more action on the battlefield than I have that say, go start your own circle, it's okay. I never wrote that paper I was going to write because it's this or it could be this or this. So there isn't a set of guidelines or any sort of set way that teams should operate. I know one of the documents on the website describes one dance team's sort of rules of the road that they all agree to. And if you can come to those kinds of things and write them down, I think it's a very healthy thing to do. We never wrote ours down. It was always unspoken. We got rehearsal on Thursday night, and we meet 45 minutes before the dance and run through it, and all these sorts of things. If you have those agreements, you need to honor them. Does this help?
Yes. It's part of the dark side of the dance, and sometimes it seems like the dance is of universal warfare. That this coming into a new group of new teachers and re-establishing and respect and stuff like that, but also providing an opening for the up-and-coming teachers. It's a real issue in our own network here.
It is everywhere, brother. And if there's conflict among the teachers, the dancers know it. They're going to pick up on it. It can be very subtle, but it's there, and it's like a leak in the whole program, isn't it? If there are unresolved feelings or resentments. And there, I think the guidelines speak about, nonviolent communication and other kinds of things that leaders should. It doesn't mention any of those specific things recommended, but things like that can be helpful. I really see it as a spiritual issue. We each have an ego, and that ego is triggered by certain situations, certain kinds of personalities, perhaps. Get to know yourself. Get to know that inner roommate. It's talked about in the Untethered Soul. And be able to spot it. What I've been pointing to this week is the awake place in each of us that's not part of the ego, that sees exactly what's going on, even when we're behaving badly. We know we're behaving badly, right? So, but you have to choose that place. You have to raise yourself to that place of attunement, awareness, compassion, because you may have been raised up in a household where it was okay to just act out, and we identify strongly with these things that we feel wronged or no. No, man, get over it. You know, just get over it. Get on with, the beauty, farming beauty in ourselves. That's what we're doing here. You know, the dance you lead, will fall on fertile ground or it won't. It'll spring up in awakening or it won't. But at least the pathway of getting there, presenting the dance, ought to be a real joy. Real joy. That's how I see it.
Can I just say something?
I saw Helen's hand, and then we'll take you. Not Helen, Robin.
Two things. One is, how many are you talking about in a team?
Oh, it varies. We have, in a tiny town, 7 leaders.
Wow.
So we each lead one dance in the evening.
And you do it in one evening?
Yeah.
Okay. The second is, and I heard this a long time ago on the ABC science program, 2 men from England, and they had created this, I guess, theory of win-win, where everybody wins.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it takes far more energy for a win-win than it does for a loser and a winner.
Mm-hmm.
So they explained first with chess. When they played chess, their thing was that they would both win, which means there is no winner, but they get to stalemate and can't move anymore. Well, what I did is take it into my family. My husband had gone to live in, what's in Western Australia, I've forgotten the name, but some remote place that called children. I said, I cooked dinner, but, I'd like some more sharing in the washing up, and I had a meeting. We have dinner. Everybody's have a meeting here, and what it was, how do we share the washing up of 7 nights with 5 people? There's 2 rules to this. One is that you stay here until we all say yes. The other is, if you don't like somebody else's idea, offer an alternative, and it goes round and round and round. You can say pass if you don't have one, but you can't say nay without offering it. It went around for quite a while until my oldest son said, this is very difficult because of the numbers. How about I write the week on a piece of paper, and some will have more and some will have less, but just offer something and see when they all said yes. So he did, and then they all went off and watched television. From then on it was easy. There was no one, and so if we were going camping somewhere, this was the meeting. And my youngest son has taken it into his marriage.
Well, that's great. I mean, what is a win-win where we can all say yes, about the dance meeting or the kind of quality we want to see in the dance program? I mean, we have to have very frank discussions about that, and really be clear. Because standards may be different, but then standards may be different because of extreme personal situations or who knows what. So we need to take all that into consideration. I don't know. Is there any more questions about that area? It's tough, it can be. But I say flip it upside down. Look at it that as a wonderful challenge, an opportunity.
Does your group at home have a leader, or how do you work as a group?
Yeah, well, we do. We choose a pole for every dance. We call it the pole, P-O-L-E, and that one will collect dance offers from everybody, usually by email. They may have a theme or not, and ask for a couple of dance offers from everybody. And then they come up with a card. We'll talk about dance cards in a second. And then let everybody know the card. We'll often have a short rehearsal beforehand just to work out the music and so on, just right before the dance. We have one fairly new leader. They like to lead their dance for us before we have the program. Make sure it's, see what else needs to be in there. And we have, someone who brings the altar, and decorations, and, we have those kind of roles too. So it's pretty simple, really.
And the poll changes each time?
Yes, we sit down at the beginning of the season in the late summer and look at every dance date, and we choose the poll for that zikr or that dance. So they have months to think about it and plan.
And if, aside from the dances, you as a team are experiencing conflict or difficulty, does somebody take a leadership role then? How do you hold those situations?
Well, we have 2 sheikhs and an initiator among our group. And so we're very used to stepping into situations and just saying, we need to clean this up here. Yeah. And it helps to have an authority. No one likes that word, but, people who've been on the Sufi path and have murids and so on, they're not going to, we don't put up with a lot of crap here. Let's just get this sorted out, And if we could all be like that, that, hey, I'm not feeling comfortable in this situation. We've got some things to resolve. Anybody could be the one to take it bull by the horns. But it often ends up being the ones who want to see it. Shake means to shake it up. You're the post for the community. So now, as far as, let's talk about something a little more inspiring, the shape of the dance card. I learned a lot about this from Narayan, who really knows how to work with energy. You need to raise some energy at the front end to be able to work with it. So, the general kind of idea is that you have a fairly rhythmic dance near the beginning that kind of gets people moving together and gets them here. And then, something big, where a lot of energy is expended. We get our breath up. We're moving. We're alive. We've sort of increased the set point of our capacity. And then you can take that energy and work it. Start to, can have some more sort of fun dances near the beginning, but then go into something that is more focused and slower and more spacious. And I would have the deepest dance of the evening be about 3/4 of the way through the evening, and then finish something maybe a little more solid, or some sort of a blessing dance, or something that seals it in a good way. Not necessarily end with that dance, that this is the deepest dance, but go a little bit back up from that. So the shape of the evening might be like this, Same with a whole week retreat. You want to introduce some challenge at the beginning. You want to stir people up, and then start to work that. If you have a weekend retreat, spirituality is challenging. It challenges us around the edges, our envelope of the person part of us. So I feel a great dance evening does that as well. It presents some challenge to us, and we dive into it and we see where it leads us. So it's good to have a mix of partner dances and non-partner, although not necessarily. It's no hard and fast rules. Mix of traditions, yeah, but not necessarily. Not all English dances, but not necessarily. I mean, rules are made to be broken. And you can see I break a lot of them, I just go with it. But one rule that I think really helps is to raise some energy at the beginning of your dance meeting. And you'll have a deeper meeting overall if you do that, rather than if you just have an evening of slow dances and then you know, finish with some big number or something. It's not going to work very well because you haven't kind of woken people up and gotten their capacity up. Does that help, Nigel?
Yep.
I have a question. In the past, it was when we were joining the group, it was like the walks, you know, the element walks, and now it is the you know, there is a dance. So that's a walking in. We call it a walking in. So can you say what you? Because then you will follow by you know quite a high energy dance at the beginning.
Not necessarily at the very beginning, but to bring people in. What your dance brings us in.
Yes.
So where is it? You know, because before it was really the walk, like the walk elements, but now it's a walking in.
I'm not sure I completely understand your question.
So when I first when I came to the Dances of Universal Peace a few years ago, we always started with an element walk. And even I'm not certified yet, but I know that my teacher, the format is that we must start with the walk element. Well,
alhamdulillah. You know, there are different ways of doing things, and these are the dances of universal peace and walking concentrations. I mean, we're supposed to lead walks. I've led a few walks here, but not very many, as you can see. And walks are a great way to set up what's going to happen, and certainly getting people moving rhythmically together, breathing together at the start of a meeting. I do that with what I call the roundup. We get some music and we're moving together, and sometimes we'll even go into a dance from that. Whatever congeals the group into a group, you know, is a useful thing to do at the very beginning. And having an element walk, why not? That's great. But again, it could be something else that does that for you. Because this isn't an overtly Sufi retreat, you know, I haven't brought that many walks, but it's you could have a whole week of walks, you know, here. There's just so much to it. And good. So, Nigel, anything more about the dance card?
No, just some
considerations. That's how I see it.
I have a further... Just your 7 dance evening, how long is your dance session?
2 hours usually, and we'll do about 6 dances in that amount of time.
And you mentioned that you take a break and bring, like you do it with us, yeah, that you have a little speech or a poem or something like that. Do you do this in these 2 hours too?
We do in Zikr. We have a Zikr evening next month, and we'll have a break in the middle, and we'll have some poetry. We have one person who sings Rumi, improvises on Rumi poems. It's just wonderful. So she'll often sing. I'll often bring poems to read. So yes. And our public dances are often potlucks. So we're there a little bit longer to eat a meal together and so how to encourage musicians? Well, fortunately we have recordings in the library that they can listen to, and by the way, if you right-click on the play button, you can download that recording to your device and take it with you. And musicians, you know, sometimes need to hear it over and over again, and play. You can even play along with the recording to learn how it's done. So we have resources there, and we have the music with the chords, and we have the notation. So all of that are resources. And by the way, if you have a mentor in your circle, we have a program now where dance musicians can be a member of the Leaders Guild. They pay their annual dues, and they're a mentee of that mentor to learn about musicianship for the dances. So someone who's really serious and wants to develop as a dance musician can, if they choose a mentor, but it has to be someone who's on the mentoring path and either a mentor or mentoring training, who are listed on the website. And I think the other thing that's really helpful for new musicians is to play with more experienced musicians at camps or weekends or in the circle. You learn by doing, and you learn by seeing what works and what doesn't work. Someone can be a great musician, singer-songwriter or whatever, but not have a clue about how to play for the dances. I have a Mareed who went to conservatory and performed all over the place. He's not a great dance musician because he goes into all his facial expressions and everything that he does when he's on stage, and this is not a stage act, This is real effacement. So musicians have to kind of catch the atmosphere of the dances, and as I mentioned, I have a paper in the website on musicianship for the dances. It's really about surrendering to the leader and what the leader wants. They are Murshid of that dance. They are the artistic director, and they should say, exactly what they want in terms of musicianship, and then the musicians need to watch the dance leader like a hawk. So I think that I've always said that music for the dances is the best gig there is in the world, because everyone is totally engaged with the music that you're playing. It's just an ecstatically wonderful thing for musicians, because most musicians are playing in a band or something, and they're mostly ignored, because everyone's there for other reasons or whatever. So, there's some ideas for you, Heidi. I don't know. Is that kind of getting at your question?
Yeah, I think our community does different things to embrace musicians, but it's hard to be consistent because we're quite dispersed. So to get that consistency of experience for somebody who's really passionate, I'm often asked to help, but it's hard for me to help when I'm just in one little town, or whatever, or there are lots of people wanting the guitar or drum, and not always having the opportunity. So it's about being mindful, I think, as a community as well, of people not being shy to step forward and ask. That would be, I think, really should be encouraged a bit more.
Yeah, well, and
so it doesn't get elitist and exclusive.
Yeah, right. And the important thing, I came to the dances as a musician, and I loved playing. I probably played more than I led at first, and I realized, you know what, I need to get in here and dance some. So I really know what it's like to dance in order to be an effective dance musician. And the music is there solely to serve the sacred phrase, as is the dance leader. So if the dance leader wants a cappella, if they want only drum or whatever it is, that's their choice. And everybody, including the dance musicians, need to understand that. Just because I brought my harp to the party doesn't mean I should be asked to play it. So I'll just say that, turning it upside down. I can be a fantastic musician and expect to be asked to play, and I need to take a look at that, because it's really a matter of what the leader wants.
And a lot of our dance circles are very small, so there's not a room for
Yeah.
too many musicians.
Exactly. I mean, sometimes we need all the bodies we can get, to dance. Well, we are kind of moving through our list here.
I mean, there's another consideration too about that leading music for the dancers isn't about performance and perfection on the one hand, but if it's not right, it can be really distracting and disturbing to the energy and to the dance as well. So there's a tension between those two energies. So embracing and opening space for new musicians to come in, but without that, I think about being a dance leader, and there's many things to hold as a dance leader, and if you've got a new musician who's perhaps out of rhythm or not familiar with the chords or whatever, or is a drummer and they're offbeat, it disrupts the energy field. That
Good question.
It can affect the it can affect the embodied rhythm of the dancers. So there's a tension there, hey, of including and having, but also it not getting in the way of the embodied experience of unity and the sacred phrase.
No question about it. Lack of preparation. The dance leader can come really ready to go and deliver a beautiful meal to the group. And if a dance musician has shown up not prepared, or isn't really paying attention to what the leader wants, it's like the souffle falls, Bummer, So this is why, I feel like the dance leader is Murshid. He needs to say, this isn't working for me. Sorry, I'm going to do it this way this time, and maybe after the dance we can put our heads together and see how we want to do this differently. Because the dance leader and the pole of the dance are ultimately the ones that determine the quality of what goes out there on the floor. And there should be no compulsion that there be this instrument or that instrument used, even if it's going to hurt somebody's feeling. I mean, you need to understand, we're very clear on this, and this is another one of our unspoken rules. The pole can pull a dance, during the dance evening. We don't have time for this. And whatever they decide is fine.
Your suggestion about a rehearsal also speaks to this issue.
Yes. The rehearsal's super helpful. I mean, we've gotten so used to working with each other. We sometimes don't have a rehearsal, and it still goes fine, because we have 3 really strong guitarists, and everyone has good musical skills. So we know the repertoire. We've all danced it forever. So I mean, this is not hard, but in another situation, it can be really hard.
But do you think that it is really necessary to have musicians? This is a question about a cappella.
No, it's not necessary. There's no compulsion to have musicians. Musicians can enhance what's happening, but you can lead an entire evening with just your voice, and that is just fine. Yeah. And it's what's coming from the heart. It's the depth of what we're here for. I'm sure we could all just have a wonderful dance meeting right here without any instruments, and it would be great. So, retaining open-heartedness. Well, let's take leading a cappella, because we just mentioned that. I've tried to model that a little bit here. Obviously, the leader has to be very grounded in the skill base of the dances, the music, the rhythm, and be able to hold the group with their presence. You know, so if I don't want to be seen, that's really, I'm kind of, okay, here I am, and let's do this. It's not going to work as well, is it? You know, I have to be okay to be here with this group, and they sense that I'm at ease. They'll be at ease. They'll trust me, and we'll go there together. So, you know, leading a cappella, I think, it's not like having a musician and a drum that's going to keep it going for you. You have to be, you know, you got it on your shoulders. But that's a great thing. Narayan, he won't certify somebody until they've are able to lead several dances just really strongly without any accompaniment whatsoever. He wants their voice to be strong, clear in the music and the movements and everything. So leading a cappella is a great discipline.
Yeah.
And there are I'm sure many leaders who don't play an instrument who lead very well. The thing about an instrument is it gives you so much more control over what's happening. When you finally hook up in your head that I can do this and it causes this, you know, it becomes a part of your body, it becomes a part of your communication tool, another tool in your quiver that you can use to create atmospheres, to rouse energy, to work with the elements, whatever it might be. So I'm a big proponent of taking up an instrument, especially the guitar, and really making it work for you. But if you're struggling with the guitar, struggling to lead with the guitar, that's like carrying an anvil around when you're trying to do contra dancing or something. It doesn't make any sense, you know, until you're comfortable enough that you can put more attention on the dance circle than on your instrument. Let's face it. So it takes some work to get to that level, and I encourage instrumentalists to practice modeling the movements of the dances while they play. That's the only way to learn to do it. Right, left, in, out, whatever. And then it'll be in your body. You'll know how to call that up.
I always tell people that I'm going to hum during on the breath part if I'm doing a cappella.
Yeah.
Because it disappears completely and there's no beat if you don't.
Humming's good, yeah. And retaining open-heartedness. It's a nice idea.
I was just wondering whether that question is actually relevant to the whole group rather than just the people that are here now.
It might be. Well, in a way, this whole week is about retaining open-heartedness and, you know, allowing the truth to transform us. Rumi says, don't go back to sleep. What's going to keep human beings from going back to sleep? I don't know. I'm just trying to keep myself from going back to sleep. Mixed.
Literal one. There's another literal one that's keeping eyes open while they dance. For funny things happen when people don't.
True enough. You can watch Murshid Sadi on the dance floor. His eyes are almost closed all the time, you know. I mean, as a dancer, I agree. And not always so. It's like the Zen saying, not always so. Generally, we need to be very awake, you know, with what we're doing. And
I've been in a dance circle with Sadi, and he scolded everybody for closing your eyes.
Yes.
You're here to wake up.
Yes.
Be alert.
Yeah. Well, there's the soft gaze of the dervish, you know.
Yes.
But I like seeing it in you because when you lead, and your eyes are not stuck in one place, they're around.
I like to know what's going on.
Yeah, and it keeps, to me, it keeps the dance alive for me.
Yeah.
Because you're attending, you're not going into your leadership thing and you're just going on with it, you're with us.
Inshallah. Well, we've kind of covered the list. We didn't go to the Maori dances. What do we want to do on? Oh, see, Thursday is our. Tomorrow is our pick my brain day, isn't it?
Yeah. We usually go through dances that people want to pick up. But maybe there's some space for.
Yeah, well, we can do some more of this if need be, but I want to answer any questions you have. And I'm really thankful to those who've compiled the list of what we've done this week. It's quite a job. And
I just have a brief question.
Yeah.
Going back to Hadia's one about musicianship and encouraging beginning musicians. You said earlier on in the week that, maybe you only need 6 chords. Which 6?
A minor.
A minor. A minor. A minor, E minor, and D minor.
And G.
And G. And D major. C major. C major and F major. That covers the most of a lot. For the capo, you would be able to play with those chords, however many they are, 6, 7, or 8, nearly everything.
He's just got 3 different positions to play any one of those.
Well,
3 different places you can play the same.
I just get tired of playing it in the same place. But, yeah. Write down those chords. Practice switching between them. Pretty soon you'll have it. And let your love for the material lead you into it. I love this song. I'm going to play it every day until I can play it without looking at my fingers. That's the first challenge. And I had a Marie who was like, I can't do it. But I knew she wanted to. And I said, this is your daily practice. And pretty soon, by that, she could do it. Now she's doing very well. You have to make yourself do certain things to master them. Okay? Let's seal our time here. Remembering the great love we have for this work and for the music and for everyone who takes up this beautiful path. Let's say Nayaz together. Through the rays of the sun, through the waves of the air, through the all-pervading life in space, purify and revivify us, and we pray, heal our bodies, hearts, and souls. Amen.